Welcome, gang. I swear, technology leaving me in the dust. All right, we got it all set up. Sweet. Well, gang, thanks for showing up. Please feel free to hit me up in the chat if you have any questions. If I'm going too fast. But essentially, I got the idea for this hang time. I found myself just kind of doing the same thing before each gig this past year, and I thought maybe y'all might like to know what it is I do when I'm warming up for a gig, because I know it can, I'm like everyone. Nerves get to me sometimes. Sometimes I'm feeling rusty. Sometimes I'm feeling good, and it's like even my mistakes sound good, but most of the time that's not the case. It's just somewhere in the middle. But I think these little warm-ups I go through do a pretty good job of tackling all the bases as far as, getting your left hand and right hand ready, some basic scale movement, some harmonized scale movement, and really that's about it. So let's take it from the top. If you're not aware, there are some printouts for this. If you go to my Patreon, patreon.com/pedalsteel, you can grab those real quick. You don't have to be a member. It's open to everyone. But there's basically 3 or 4 printouts. So there's one. This is just what we're going to be going off of. Just some notes, and it also has like the links so you can pull up the lesson. Some of these already have lessons that you can reference back to if you want to check it out a bit more. And then there's a printout for the B pedal crossover. There's one for, I just call it the Johnny Up Special. And then there's one for just a basic palm blocking pattern. And I don't have lessons for those, so I just made a quick tab for us to use today. So anyway, let's take it from the top. If you're not aware, the finger groupings exercise, this I think is probably the most important one out there as far as a beginner exercise to learn. And I warm up with it just like anyone. I think any level it's a great place to start. But essentially I just take it slow from the top. I like to, if you're not aware of the finger groupings, right, it's 10-8-6, 8-6-5, 6-5-4, 5-4-3. So I'll start just in this open position, and I'll just pick each one, get a nice mute in between each one, make sure I'm getting my pick blocked. Then I'll bring the bar into it and work it down. And again, just making sure I'm fully blocked in between each slide. Right, I don't want to hear like, all right, then I know I'm not doing it right. Right, good block, then slide. And I'll do this up about halfway. When I'm feeling good with this. I'll go from an audible mute in between each one to just going to straight picking through. There's still good blocks there, right? Right, you're not hearing that 10th string anymore. That's because when I picked that next one, I'm still blocking. It's just very quick. And I'll work my way up to about the 12th fret. and then just start working my way down and go back to good mutes in between. You know, really focusing on getting to the right part of the fret, right? We all know that going backwards can sometimes be a lot harder than going up. And when I'm feeling good with that, back to the quick block, or whatever you want to call it. You'll notice that the tempo really isn't that fast. It's just that I'm going from one pick to the next fast. It's still a pretty slow tempo. And it's really not a straightforward tempo either. I'm just kind of picking whenever I'm ready. In something like this, precision is way more important than speed, right? Alright, so that's what I start off with, just a basic finger groupings exercise. Maybe one last comment on that is if you didn't notice, we want to make sure that we're not picking, then blocking those same strings and then moving up, right? Right, that's kind of exaggerated. We're going straight from one to the next. So 10-8-6, right? And I'm going straight to 8-6-5, right? Because we always need to prepare and block at the same time. So even though I moved 8-6-5, that 10th string's still getting blocked. Same thing, I just picked 8-6-5. I don't want to come back down on 8-6-5. We're going straight to 6-5-4. And when I set down, everything gets blocked. And same thing on the way down. Even though I'm picking 3-4-5, I'm not going to come back down on 3-4-5. I'm going to 4-5-6. And then the third string is going to get blocked from the back of my middle finger. Alright, let me know if you have any questions with that one. I know there's only a couple of you here. But that's what I like to start off with. A little finger groups exercise, gets my bar hand ready a little bit, just gets those chords in my head. The next thing is a little Travis Toy warm-up. I'm not going to go into that too much because I learned it from him, and if you want to learn more about it, you should get it from him. You can get it at travistoytutorials.com, but just briefly, it's pretty much just running through the strings. I'll do a double thumb. Essentially what we do is pick the 3 adjacent strings and then move down, right, with the 4th string. And we can hit that 4th string with either double thumb, so M, I, P, P, right? We could also do it double index, so double I, M, I, P, or double middle, index, thumb, right? So there's 3 options there. Thumb, index, middle, right? Right, so that would be an example of a double thumb all the way down, and then I'll run it up. So double thumb all the way up. Thumb. Then I'll do it double index both ways, double middle both ways. And I might do that a couple times actually, depending how I'm feeling. This one's really good at telling me like where I am mentally, because sometimes I'll just mistake after mistake, and it'll be like, okay, let's take a breath, slow down, right, and let's try it again. right? And then I can start to come back up with the speed once I'm feeling good with that. But again, if you want to know more about that, check out Travis Toy's site. It's got some great stuff on there. Okay, so from there we now need to start getting into like some basic single note scale movement, right? And here's where you can pull out the B pedal crossover printout. Again, if you're just joining us, it's available for free. Just go to patreon.com/pedalsteel. There's a topic called live stream printouts or something like that. You can go grab it, download it real quick. Looks like that. So I pretty much start with just a very basic B pedal crossover, and by that I mean it's kind of the same idea of what we just did with the Travis Toy thing, how we get our picks in and then move up a string. But we're using our B pedal, so that's why I call it the B pedal crossover. You'll notice on the printout there's not any frets on there because our left hand really isn't important with this. This is all about right hand and maybe like some left foot coordination with that. So if we're looking at it, we got P as thumb, right? So P, I, M, thumb, index, middle. So we're set up 8, 7, 6, and we're just going to start off thumb, index, middle, add in B, and here's the crossover. You'll notice that it goes middle moves up to 5, and thumb moves up to 6. So pretty much everything is going to move up one string. And now we're going back to the 6th string. This time index is there. We release B and move back down. So index moves down to 7 and thumb back to 8. So it's just a nice little and I'll do that just a handful of times till I'm feeling good. So that's kind of where I start. Once I'm feeling good with that, I'll try a variation on that. If we look at number 2, it starts off the same, right? Thumb, index, middle, B pedal, middle moves up to 5, but this time thumb goes up to 6, not index. So first time it was, this time, right, exact same notes, but very different in what we're setting ourselves up for. By bringing my thumb up to this 6th string, right, I'm set up for a nice pedals down chord, 6-5-4 chord, whatever. And then we reverse it kind of the same, right? So back to the 6th string. It's with thumb this time. When we're releasing B, we move index and thumb back to 7 and 8. So I'll run this a few times. Take a look at our third variation now. So we're kind of back to, starts off the same, right? Thumb, index, middle, add in B. This time we're moving thumb up to 6, but this time index to 5. So now middle's all the way out of the way. And then reverse is the same, right? Back to thumb on 6. Release. When we're releasing B, we move index and thumb back. So the reason we might do it like this with thumb and index instead of thumb and middle, thumb and middle would be like a great one for like some speed picking. Let me just bring my bar in for a sec. Right? And maybe, thumb and index. Might be good for like bringing a chord into it, right? Or like some 5 and 4 stuff. Right, by having that index there, it gives me the option to use the middle finger on an adjacent higher string, right? So this is just kind of some of the stuff that's going through my head, using these different variations on essentially the exact same, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes, right? Right? 3 different patterns, 3 different ways to pick it. Let's take a look at number 4. So now I'm just going to add in some extra noodling around. This pattern starts off the same, thumb, index, middle. We're moving up thumb and middle, right? If you look ahead, middle moves up to 5, thumb to 6. This time we're not walking all the way down, so thumb's only moving down 1 string. But if you'll notice, index is coming back into the picture. Right? So now we're actually kind of set up 7, 6, 5. And now we're just going to do another little B pedal crossover, but this time it's getting picked with index. Right there. Middle's already on 5. We're bringing thumb up again. Back to thumb. We release B. And now we bring back index and thumb for 7, 8. Cool. So really it's just that basic pattern. We're just adding a little bit more into it. A little. Again, just warming up that right hand. Okay, let's look at variation number 5. What to notice about this one? So this one we're bringing in the 4th string. If you look ahead a little bit, but essentially starts off the same, thumb, index, middle. We're moving the index finger up to the 5th string. We're working our way back with thumb. So kind of like the last one, back to index. Crossing up again, moving index up to 5, back to thumb on 6, back to 5. Now we're bringing the 8 pedal into it. Right, since index is on 5, middle should already probably be on 4. So pretty natural pick with that middle finger. But you'll notice that we need to cross thumb up onto the 5th string. Shoot. Right, that's that move. Thumb, index, then we're adding in that A pedal. Thumb crosses up to 5, and we get that 4th string pick with middle. Back to the thumb, pick and rock off A, move thumb down. Right. So now we're just working thumb and middle down. Right. Middle moves down to 5, back to thumb, and that same move we've been doing. When we're releasing B, we move index and thumb back to 7, 8. So we're getting a little bit more difficult, adding a little bit more sauce into it. Let's check out number 6. So here is a pretty good example of where I end up after running through just these crossover exercises. All right, so we're starting off, this time we're starting off a little different. We're starting off 7-6-5, but again, just thumb, index, middle. So thumb, oh, let's look through it. So we're going thumb, index, middle, we cross the thumb up, right, to the 6th string, then it crosses back down to 7, so index gets back set up at 6, middle on 5, thumb crosses up again, right, and works its way back down, index finger works us back up, thumb crosses up, now our index hits the 5th string, we get on the A pedal. Maybe it might be helpful if I do this. Index finger hits the A pedal, middle finger on 4, so thumb crosses up, but then we release the A pedal and thumb crosses back down. Then we use our index to pick and hit the A pedal, middle finger, thumb crosses up, then we kind of exchange with the middle finger again, back down to thumb, crosses down again. Now we use our index finger, middle finger all the way up to the 1st string, back to thumb, index, back to thumb, all right, release A, thumb crosses down, middle finger crosses down, back to thumb, all right, and then the typical walk down, index, thumb, 7 and 8. Let me play it through once. So, right, notes not complicated. This is all about right hand there. Let's go through it one more time. So we got thumb, index, we hit our B pedal, so thumb starts crossing up, middle on 5, back to thumb, release B, thumb crosses back down. Same move as we just did, index, add in B, thumb crosses up, middle, back to thumb, release B, thumb moves down. Same move again, index. This time everything's crossing up, right? Because we see that index on 5 coming. Right, so index crosses up, and thumb. Back to thumb, index, add in A, thumb starts crossing up, middle, thumb, rock off and thumb crosses down. Same move, index, start adding an A, middle, thumb is crossed up, back to thumb, back to middle, back to thumb, rock off and cross down. Now here's our little lick, index, add an A. Now we're moving to a 5-4-1 position. Middle, thumb, index, thumb. So let's try that again. Thumb, index. Now while I'm adding in that A, 5-4-1. Alright, rock off. Thumb crosses down. With middle on 5. Back to thumb. Release B, cross index and thumb down, 7-8. Cool. So it won't be exactly like this, right? I kind of just come up with whatever on the spot, improvise it. It's all about just getting good blocking, getting my finger dexterity up, you know. And yeah, again, a little with the left foot maybe. So cool. So at that point, I've hit some chords, some just some basic, right? Just picking around, getting my head into it with the pedaling here. Just mess around with that for a little bit. All right. Number 4. Again, if you're just joining in, we got some printouts that we're going off of. I'm not just talking all this through. Patreon.com/pedalsteel. It's open to everyone. Just go grab it real quick. Okay. 3-finger harmonized scale. I do have a lesson on this already, but we'll talk about it again real briefly. So hopefully, you know your harmonized scale, right? The pedals down one. I do this one just because it's like, you know, I'm going to use this the most. And then just to get some more bang for my buck, I add in my thumb. And it just goes 3 and 5, 6. And the main thing with this one is that when one's picking, the other's blocking. So when I'm picking with 3 and 5, thumb is blocked. When I'm picking with thumb, index and middle block. So a little exaggerated there, but happens at the exact same time. And then I'll work that through the scale pattern. And then I'll pick and slide to each position. Pick, slide, pick, slide, pick, pedal, pick, slide, pick, slide, pick, slide, pick, pedal. And then kind of what I put in the warm-up routine, you can get kind of bonus points for doing it from the pedals up position. Ah, shoot, what am I doing? Oh yeah. My brain fart. Yeah. There we go. It's not too embarrassing. We got it there. All right. Maybe mess around with some different keys, right? And maybe try out some other harmonized scales while we're at it, right? Okay. Next one, the Johnny Up Special. This I just find myself doing when in between guys checking their stuff. Here's a little printout for it. So again, no frets because that's not what's important here. I'm just kind of warming up my right hand. And looking at the tab, so it starts off with a basic 3-1-4 setup. Index is on 3, middle is on 1, and thumb on 4. All right. just about like that. And then from there, middle and thumb take over. And if you look in, they cross up, and then they cross down, and then they cross up and down and up and back. Let me play it for you one time so you can get an idea of what it sounds like. Kind of a little bit of a tongue twister. So the 1-3-4 setup is like super common for, like, say, a pedals down descending scale, right? So it's that kind of thing, or even like a A pedal minor scale. But I'm not worried about bar or pedals, so we're just doing it like this. So we start off 3, index, middle, thumb, and the middle finger crosses down to 2. Alright, that's the basic move to start. When I hit that thumb, middle has to be on 2. Alright, and then thumb and middles kind of do this thing. Like we just talked about, when one is picking, the other's blocking. Alright, so now we have to figure out how to cross it up. So on that last thumb pick, or that second thumb pick, right, you're going to see that index and middle move up to 1 and 2. And index finger is always going to follow this middle finger because it needs to block whatever the middle finger is leaving behind. And the thumb is going to block the 4th string whenever it moves up from the back of the thumb. Right, so now that I've ended that run, I've got thumb in the air because it's just picked, and index and middle on 1 and 2. So middle's ready to go on 1, thumb moves down to 3. Alright, so after that first string pick, index is still on 2, like we said. It's just there to kind of block and hang around. And thumb is on 3, ready to go and start the pattern over. Alright, so thumb goes, and from here on, it's basically the pattern we just did. The difference is we started with thumb on 3 instead of index on 3. Alright, so middle goes on 1. Alright, and now thumb and index move down to 4 and 3. Alright. So we're back into the pattern, right? Middle moves back down to 2. Alright, middle moves up to 1. So if you ignore the index finger, it's pretty much thumb and middle on 3 and 1 or 4 and 2. Yeah, and I'll just pretty much just kind of run it a little bit. This is just just kind of fun, something to hit when they're checking the snare drum or whatever, and you can't really quite hear what you're playing, but you can kind of figure out when it's starting to go off the rails. And again, then I'll probably start running like some of the stuff like we did just talk about. And that's just A pedal down, running that same pattern. Maybe run a descending scale. Maybe start combining it with the B pedal crossover stuff. anyway, you get the idea with that. That is the Johnny Up special. No questions so far, so I guess we'll just keep on moving along. Last thing I do is just kind of start improvising something. All right, I've got my chords, worked on those, worked on my scales, and then worked on just some single note runs. Now I'll just start kind of improvising something. There's a man, there was this Doug Jernigan thing I tabbed out once that got as a request. It was like, it kind of just gives me a good base to kind of start working around with some stuff on. And here I just work on being musical. And that's really how I warm up, guys. If anybody has any questions, hit them with me, because I guess we'll call it here unless y'all have anything you want to talk about. But yeah, again, this is just what I found myself doing each time, and it gets me kind of in a good headspace. Oh, I forgot to add. I forgot to go through the palm blocking thing. Let's check that out real quick. So I am a self-admitted, not a great palm blocker. I do just enough of it in a gig that I do want to warm up a little bit with it. Let's take a look at this thing. So again, no frets. This is all about right hand. Kind of similar to the Johnny Up special. That we're set up in a, let's see, we're set up, no, I guess not. We've got index on 3 and thumb on 5. So it goes index, thumb on 5, index on 4. Here thumb crosses up to 3, right, middle on 1. Oops. Middle on 1, thumb moves back down to 4, right? And then it kind of runs through the pattern again. Right, and then one more on the 3rd string with index and thumb on 4. And again, so it's always kind of going back, right? Thumb, thumb, thumb. Thumb's every other, right? And when we start bringing up the speed, you'll kind of start to feel like it's almost like rhythmic, you know. But I like to run this through like a little 1-4-5 progression. Then I'll go pedals down for the 4. Then go up 2 frets, pedals down for the 5. Then I'll run it from the pedals down position. 4 chord D, back to the 1, 5, 1. And again, like I said, I'm not a great palm blocker. I do just enough licks. That might be the only one I play in a whole Whitey set, but cool. So those are my that's my warm-up routine. Hope y'all enjoyed that. And if you have any questions or comments, if you left something out, if you like it, if you hate it, keep it to yourself. All right. I'll see y'all later.